Morning viewers and welcome to another Onside SA Soccer Show. Joining me has been the case in recent weeks is our Manning Rangers league winner Gavin Radford. Gav.
Morning Butch, good to be here again.
Premiership starts.
Yeah, all excited, getting ready. I think it's going to be a good season again.
Checking the markets, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely. Some big teams, some big games coming up. Some good starting games for the league. So that'll be interesting to watch.
Let's hope our Man United boys make a good start. But we kick off as normal with our last one standing competition. It's been running from last season, and Bradley Parker and Henry Nordie have gone an unbelievable 11 weeks picking winners. I've sent them all their previous selections, and they'll no doubt give me their picks tomorrow. So the guys that know, the PDFs will come Saturday morning. Gav, can Henry do it?
Well, I'm hoping Henry can do it, but the only thing is we're going to have to live with all the chirping afterwards. But yeah, good luck to both of them to go that far and so deep into the competition. To find winners is not easy, and to go 11 weeks, well, I'm sure they wish they could have doubled their money every week for 11 weeks. So they'd have been in the pound seats now.
Great achievement. To let everybody know, our next competition starts the following weekend. Luckily, there's no Friday game, so next Saturday it will kick off our 9th competition. We're now going to cross over to Stevie B, our UK correspondent in our London studio. Morning, Steve. Are you there?
I'm here. Good morning.
All right,
Morning,
Steve. I just can't believe what I read. You know, obviously with the signings, David Luiz to go to Arsenal from Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, it's really come, in a way, it's come out of left field. But my understanding from reading between the lines is that Frank Lampard has sort of made it clear that he is not going to be one of his starters this year. He fancies Kurt Zuma and Christensen. Okay. So, at 32, I don't think he really wants to sit on the bench. So it looks as if that could happen this morning.
Right. So it's 5 o'clock UK time, which is 6 o'clock our time. That's deadline day, and that's that.
Absolutely. That's that. Unless someone is a free agent, but otherwise it shuts. But as we know, it doesn't shut for everybody. So shuts here, but in Europe they carry on until the 2nd of September. So there could still be some fun and games, but there's going to be a lot of activity in the next few hours.
Yeah. Now talking about activity, Wilfried Zaha, I see his name's been mentioned to go to Everton.
Yeah, well, I think obviously he was hanging on for Arsenal, but when they couldn't raise the cash in one go, so they went for Nicolas Pepe. Everton are really trying hard to get this one over the line, but Palace are just playing hardball, and I guess their view is Zaha signed a 5-year contract last year, so they don't feel he has to go anywhere. But he actually, my understanding is he handed in a written transfer request yesterday to try and force the issue. So I think he could go, but Everton are going to have to stump up about 80 million. In fact, Everton sold James McCarthy to yesterday. I thought perhaps maybe that could have been part of the deal, but it was agreed that would be kept separate for about 8.5 million. So if Everton want him, they're going to have to come up with Palace's valuation. So I think he was going to be very disgruntled, Zaha. He's obviously made it clear he wants to go. Everton have obviously got a lot of it. We talked about it. Everton are going to be pushing, for that 6th place spot, I think, this season if they get the players they're after.
Yeah, I see they've got they've signed a few players. I like that Moise Kean too from Juventus. I think he'll be a good buy once he settles in. Now, another team that's making a lot of splashes is Tottenham. I see Dybala, they're going to hijack that United deal?
Yeah, well, as we know, sort of a week or so ago, United had agreed a fee with Juventus, about the same, about the 60-odd million, but couldn't agree personal terms. And at the time, it looked as if he wanted somewhere in the region of about 350,000 plus image rights and all the other commercial deal, and they weren't prepared to pay that. Tottenham have agreed, evidently, a fee with Juventus, but and they're trying to talk personal terms. But I can't believe Tottenham could be able to pay that sort of money. It would make him by far the highest paid player at the club, and that would completely throw out their own wage structure. So unless there is some other deal that they could do, you just wonder if that's going to fall over for the same reason.
Yeah, I think Juventus, I remember watching the quarter-final, they played Ajax at home when they'd lost the first leg away, and he got pulled off at half-time, and it looked like the club had enough of him. They played Bernardeschi, so I can see why 64 million they'll sell, but the image rights and £350 a week, with all due respect for him, I just don't see Daniel Levy falling for that.
Well, I think, again, with United, when they were quoted as saying they didn't feel he was really up for the move as much as he could have been. He didn't seem overly excited, so United pulled out. I'd be surprised if this one goes through, unless he's prepared to lower his wage demands. But we'll see.
Yeah. Now, Giovanni Lo Celso from Real Betis. You know, I watched that team last year because I like the manager, Kiki Setien.
Yeah.
They play good football. I can't believe, other than him being Argentinian, they're going to pay 50 million for him, Steve.
Well, again, look, some of the transfer fees that have gone mad, but my understanding, I was reading this quite late last night, and again, there's quotes about it this morning, is it's quite possible that Tottenham may only be paying a loan fee with a view to a permanent deal next year. And the reason for that is that PSG have added a 20% sell-on clause, so that the way it works is if Tottenham pay a large loan fee up front for the year, if they do then are obliged to buy him in 12 months' time, that loan fee comes off the sale price. PSG will only get 20% of the reduced fee and Betis get more.
Yeah.
So they could end up, Betis, with several million more by doing it this way. And it also then allows Tottenham to use a bit more funds now to bring in Dybala, perhaps. So I think that one's going to go through with the sounds of it, whether it is outright purchase or a loan with a view to purchase. But it seems to be that one could well happen today.
Yeah, as I said, I watched that team last year. William Carvalho, the Portuguese international, he's the main man in that team. So I don't know why they would want him, but he's Argentinian, and I know he played in the Copa America. He started 4 games, and obviously the Argentinian connection. But I can see why. That'd be a shrewd move to try and get him on loan. Now, your man, Ryan Sessegnon, has he signed?
I think that's pretty much happened this morning. I think that'll be announced quite officially shortly. So that looks as if that's going to be 25 million plus Josh Onomar coming the other way.
Okay.
It's less than we wanted originally, but there's no question. I mean, he didn't have a good season last season. He's only got 12 months left on his contract.
Yeah.
Nobody else had come in for him because he made it clear he wanted to go and play at Tottenham. I can't see him being a starter much this year. I think he'll play a few cup games, come on for the odd game and spend a lot of time on the bench. So, if Tottenham go out and buy all these other players, 50, 60 million, then they're not going to play Sessegnon ahead of them. So, he's one for the future. But, good luck to him. I mean, it's a good move for him.
Yeah.
I just hope that doesn't spend more time on the bench in the next year or two than he does the pitch.
Yeah, he's going to sit on the bench, but you can't blame your team for taking 25 million.
No, I mean, look, we need to, and I think all things being equal, we hope to be bringing 1 or 2 in today.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we got that cash, then we could use some of that.
Yeah. Has the Lukaku deal gone through to Inter Milan?
Not formally, but I understand, again, that's going to happen this morning. They've agreed the deal last night. It's 73 million, which is including add-ons. I think United would just play hardball. But I think this whole situation with Lukaku training on his own in Belgium and refusing to come back, what was the point of hanging on to him? I mean, they might as well get the money, and which they can use elsewhere, or effectively sort of pay for Harry Maguire. So. I think, but the question now is whether or not United are going to try and look for someone to come in today, because they are going to be a little bit light in that number 9 position. Yeah,
I think goals will definitely be United's problem, but you just don't know. You don't know how Woodward trades, but be desperate, yeah.
Yeah, well, I read this morning that United could be back in for Mario Mandzukic.
Okay. Well, I suppose big centre-forward experience can lead the line.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a bit of a no-risk. I mean, again, they've got a history of going for sort of, like the Ibrahimovics and sort of older players to come in, and he could do a job. I mean, there was talk as well, I was reading, again, very early this morning, that there was a rumour that United might meet the release clause for Inaki Williams of Atletico Bilbao, 81 million. I just, that really is, if we think that 55, 60 million for Lo Celso and Dybala is a lot, well, 81 million for
he's not worth
relatively unknown. He's not worth that.
He's not worth it. I watch a lot of Spanish football. Atletico Bilbao, I think it's the only team that play players from their own region, but he's not worth that. He's not even close. He's a greyhound, but the Premier League will find him out. Talking of Premier League, Steve, what did you think of the Community Shield last week?
Well, I thought in the first half it looked as if it was just going to be a Man City procession, and I just think they took the foot off the gas a little bit. And second half, to be fair, Liverpool really, could have won it. I mean, they had enough chances. I mean, Salah on his own had enough chances to win it. So, I think in the end it was a good game. Sterling, I don't know what he was doing with that miss. I mean, 2-0 should have buried it. But in a way, I suppose it gives Liverpool a little bit more heart that they think actually. But I just feel that City somehow just eased off a little bit at times. When in the beginning of the game they were all over Liverpool and playing some lovely stuff. So.
Yeah. What do you think will happen with Leroy Sané? Because that's a massive one for Man City.
It is, and this is the worry now because in fact I understand he picked up a little bit of an injury.
Yeah.
So the danger, I guess, for City is that obviously if they hold on to him today, that's fine. But it's whether or not, if Bayern Munich come knocking next week or the week after and put 100 million on the table, whether City will feel they've got to accept it, especially if he handed in a transfer request. Because I think that there are a few players who might still be at risk from the big 3 or 4 in Europe coming after them in the next 3 weeks before the window closes. I think if nothing really happens today, then I suspect he'll stay. But I don't think City want to lose him. But then, as we know from Pep's words last week or the week before, didn't seem to be saying under no circumstance are we selling him. It was just it was saying, well, it'll be a shame if he goes.
Yeah.
So,
if I was City, I'd hang on to him because I think that signing could have a major effect on who wins the league. Because with him in the team, he's dangerous. Without him, another injury or two, I think they could be in trouble, Man City. Anyway.
It'd be. I think you could be right, and I think they haven't brought anybody else in that position. So if they thought that he was going to go, maybe because they've made it clear that their business is done now. Obviously, with the Cancelo move yesterday coming in at right back, and obviously with Rodri, but they haven't strengthened anything further forward.
Yeah, I think with Laporte's injury, that could be crucial at the back. But they've got enough quality to cope, especially early on in the year. How do you see them going at? Sorry, Steve. How do you see them going at West Ham tomorrow?
Well, I think that's a game that they will target to win. They've got a very good record against West Ham.
Yeah.
They beat them convincingly the last couple of times they played them over there, or 3 times, twice in the league and once in the cup. So I think anything other than an away win would be a surprise.
Yeah, I agree. Tottenham, Aston Villa.
I mean, Villa have got so many new players. You think it's going. I mean, they're still trying to sign more. You think that they can't have a settled side. In fact, when I looked last night, they brought 12 in and 17 out.
Yes.
So it hasn't finished. I think that whoever Tottenham bring in, Tottenham's still got enough there to win that one. I think it'll be close, but I think Tottenham should just edge out.
Yeah, I think they're going to need Tom Heaton to have a good season at Aston Villa because he's going to be under severe pressure there.
Yeah.
Now, a big game Sunday, Stevie. Bypassed a few of the games because of time constraints, but Leicester Wolves. Do you think the Europa League will catch up with Wolves?
Well, I was reading that this morning. They've got they got a long trip to Armenia. It depends if he's going to sort of rotate any players. But I fancy Leicester. I know Wolves have been playing, had a really good end to this. But Leicester, they've lost Harry Maguire. But apart from that, I think Brendan Rodgers got them playing quite well. I think Leicester might just edge that by a goal.
Yeah, I think it should be a good game. Now, Newcastle, Arsenal. How do you see Arsenal going?
This is going to be a real test because this, on paper, you'd think that Arsenal would think, look, if we want to do anything this season, we've got to go to Newcastle. While they're still a little bit sort of in disarray after losing sort of Rafa Benitez, I think this is, Arsenal might just pip this one and just get, by maybe 1-0 or 2-1. But I think if it's the sort of game that they lose, then you do fear for them.
Yeah, I just hope Steve Bruce can get a result. I think he deserves a chance. It's a tough task.
Absolutely. I think so. And I think Newcastle are looking to bring somebody else in today if they can. Yeah. But the squad does still look quite thin.
All right. And the big game is obviously Man United, Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be. I mean we're going to see quite a different Chelsea team. Obviously, I think we could have 1 or 2 of the younger players. Yeah. Looks like it's Zuma and Christensen at the back, and it's whether or not. If they're going to sort of throw Maguire straight in, you think Wan-Bissaka would play. I think there'll be goals in that. I just fancy a draw there.
Okay, sitting the fan 2-2 draw will be good for us. I hope you're wrong, but I think United will get off to a winning start. But I agree. Is Kante fit?
I'm not sure he is actually. I don't think he's featured in many of the in the pre-season, so it's quite possible he won't be.
Okay. Just to outright winner, have you got Man City winning the league?
I have still, less. I mean, there wasn't much to choose between them in the end. I just feel that City have strengthened a bit, obviously with Cancelo and Rodri. And the other key for me is that if De Bruyne stays fit, I mean, obviously he wasn't. He was out when they had their bit of wobble. I just think he's such a quality player. Liverpool haven't strengthened. They're pretty much the same team. But they're going to have to really work hard just to do what they did last year. I think it will be close, but I think City will still do it.
Okay, and who have you got in third place? Tottenham?
I think, as things stand at the moment, Tottenham, if they bring these players in and they gel, it could well be Tottenham.
All right. Steve, on to the Championship, where we both had a disappointing weekend.
Indeed.
You think Fulham can rebound, beating Blackburn?
Yeah, well, I think they have to. I think there's no question that I think this is the game they've got a target to win. I mean, Blackburn are a solid team, but they didn't travel particularly well last year. Yeah. I think that at home, I'm expecting that Anthony Knockaert will start. He's had another week pre-season, and when he came on last week, he made a bit of difference. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if even Harry Arter starts, or certainly brings him in at some point. So I think that a home win for me.
Okay, Leeds beat Nottingham Forest, the lunchtime kickoff.
I think they will. I watched pretty much both games, highlights of the Leeds game, and I watched the Forest game. West Brom were by far the better team, apart from about the first 10 minutes at the City ground, and Leeds played with a lot of pace. I was very impressed with them, actually. So I think Leeds might be just a bit too strong for Forest.
Okay, Huddersfield rebound after their disappointing Monday night loss against Derby? Against QPR?
QPR, are a funny side. I mean, they've really lost a lot of players. They've had to sell their best players, brought a lot of players in on loan and free transfers, and got a tremendous result winning at Stoke. Yeah. Huddersfield didn't play that well against Derby for most of the game. They had a lot of the possession, didn't create a lot of chances. I think that's going to be their problem. I think that will be a low-scoring game. Huddersfield I think they could probably get a draw there.
Okay, Derby, Swansea.
I think Derby will be too strong. I thought they played very well in the first half, particularly. Tom Lawrence scored 2 cracking goals.
Yeah, I saw them. Yeah.
I think the whole thing with Rooney coming in January, and I think there's a lot of buzz about them. They played, considering they'd lost, 3 key loan players who they had last season. I was quite impressed with them. I think, and Swansea have now just lost their talisman goal scorer, Ollie McBurney. So I think Derby will be too strong.
And last but not least, Steve, West Brom at home to Millwall.
I would expect West Brom to win that. I thought they played very well. Again, they'd lost some key players from last season, but they were very strong at Forest after the first 10-15 minutes. After that, they totally dominated. Got a lot of pace in the team, looked very strong. And I know Millwall have strengthened a bit, and they had a win last week, but I think West Brom will be too strong for them.
All right, Steve. Steve, thank you very much for your help. I'm sure Pleasure. You're going to the Cottage tomorrow to watch Fulham.
I will be there on Saturday, absolutely.
Well, they're in our bets, so let's hope you have an enjoyable day.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of activity between now and 6 o'clock your time today.
Yeah, you're right about that. Steve, thanks very much and have a good weekend.
Bye, Buzz. Bye, Gav.
Cheers, Steve.
All the best. All right, we'll kick off with the Premiership. Big game Friday night, Liverpool at home to Norwich. Gav?
Yeah, I think Liverpool will be too strong. I think we're very impressed with the Charity Shield match on the weekend. I thought both teams put up a good game. Normally those charity games are a bit slow and trying to find their feet. Yeah. But both teams had a go. I think it was quite a competitive game. The managers were getting involved. Yeah. So it was good to see. It was a good start to the league this week, and let's hope that the intensity stays high.
Yeah. The only bet we've had on this game, I think it's 8-10 Liverpool to score in both halves. That's the only bet going through that. Now, Man City have won the last 4 games at West Ham. Surely there can't be an upset.
No, I think Man City are too strong. I mean, you look at the squad. The squad is far too strong for West Ham. I think that trend will continue. I mean, Man City haven't made too many signings, so they're more settled side, and I think they'll get a positive result.
All right. Bournemouth beat Sheffield.
Yeah, I think that this could be goals in this game. I think Bournemouth are free scoring, so I think they'll do well.
Yeah. Burnley beat Southampton.
Tough one. I'm leaning towards a draw in this game.
Now Everton made 1 million signings.
Yeah, a lot of new signings into the Everton squad. I think they too. I'm expecting a big season from Everton this year.
Yeah, I think so too. Just their away form was dodgy. Second page, Watford beat Brighton.
Yeah, my best bet of the weekend, Watford.
Okay.
Troy Deeney to score. I think they'll get a positive result.
Yeah, so do I. They've kept the key players too. Tottenham should beat Villa.
Yeah, too strong Spurs.
Now the big game Sunday, Leicester against a Europa League Wolves team.
Well, Leicester is one of my teams I'm expecting to make it the top 6 this year, so I'm hoping that they have a positive start. Wolves difficult to beat, but yeah, leaning towards Leicester.
Yeah, can Newcastle upset Arsenal?
You know, Newcastle got all these new players, new coach. Arsenal, bad away form. But you would think that if ever they're going to win the game away from home, Arsenal, this would be it. So a competitive game, but I'm leaning towards Arsenal to get a result.
Okay, Man United beat Chelsea?
Yeah, Man United all the way. We've got to start positive. I think we'll be on the front foot in this game.
Yeah.
I think Chelsea will play a few youngsters, and the occasion might be a bit big for them. So I'm hoping United come on the front foot and have a go from the word go. So
I think we're going to have to put the foot down early because we get
must
in
keep
front.
the pressure on.
On to the Championship. Leeds should be too good for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, positive result last weekend, Leeds. I think they're a good start. I think they're building to get a promotion, so I think Leeds will win this game.
Yeah, Birmingham, unbelievably, they're better away form than last. I fancy Bristol City upset them this weekend.
Yeah, win and draw Bristol City. I think they'll do well.
Cardiff to rebound from last week, got beat at Wigan.
Yeah, very disappointing result last week, Cardiff. But I think that could be a good bet as well, 8 to 10.
Yeah, so do I. Now, Stoke City disappointed me last week. Million signings. They got beat at home by QPR.
Yeah, I keep telling you, this team keeps letting me down. And again, I went for them and they got beat. Yeah. So I'm leaning towards Stoke in the draw.
All right, Derby Swansea. We've heard what Steve said. 12 to 10 Derby?
Yeah, it looks like a good value bet at 12 to 10. Positive result. Both teams won well last week, but Derby at home should be too strong.
Yeah, I think so too. And I'm going for Fulham. I think they'll beat Blackburn at home.
Yeah, they have to bounce back. You can't go 2 games, 2 losses. I mean, I think Fulham could be a positive result as well. Yeah, got good players in the squad, big squad, so they should win it.
Yeah, now Hull City versus Reading, 2 struggling teams. You want to have a bet in this game, guys? Both teams to score, 8 to 10.
100% correct.
Middlesbrough, 3-3 at Luton in their debut against a Brentford team, million signings and got beat at home. How do you see that?
Yeah, this is another tough game. I'm leaning towards a draw because Middlesbrough at the moment just can't keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
So they can't win, so I'm going to go for the draw.
Yeah, don't blame you. 23 to 10 Middlesbrough. Preston at home against Wigan. Local derby. We were terrible last week against Millwall when we got beat. 11 to 10. I think we'll get back to winning ways.
Yeah, these teams have their first game away from home, have to bounce back. So you would think that Preston have to bounce back. So 11 to 10, good value in that game.
Now QPR went to Stoke and won. 14 new signings against a Huddersfield team that looked cocky in the highlights that I saw when they lost at Derby. Come back to winning ways.
I think Huddersfield will win this game. 17 to 10 is a big value bet for me. I think that they'll have their premiership experience underneath them. And QPR side, like you said, got all the changes.
Yeah.
I'm leaning towards Huddersfield at 17 to 10.
Okay, the Yorkshire Derby, Sheffield Wednesday against Barnsley. Both teams won the opening. Sheffield Wednesday won at Reading. Barnsley beat Fulham. How do you see it?
Tough game for both teams. I think they're one of those mid-tier teams. The draw looks like a big runner here.
Yeah, West Brom 9 to 10 versus Millwall.
Yeah, best bet of the weekend, West Brom. I think they're too strong.
Yeah.
So good value at 9 to 10.
Yeah, Millwall beat a disappointing Preston and I fancy West Brom to destroy them. On to the PSL. Maritzburg Friday night against Highlands Park. Low scoring game.
Yeah, low scoring game. Maritzburg didn't get a good result last week, didn't play too well.
Yeah.
Low scoring, maybe a draw in this game. But Highlands too took Chiefs all the way to the wire, so a little bit unlucky last week, Highlands Park. Yeah. But leaning towards a draw.
Yeah, I think 19 to 10 looks the right play. Polokwane against Amazulu. I watched Amazulu against Wits. I'll be against Wits last week. They were disgraceful.
The poor side, Amazulu. Really, I always tell the guys I can't have any confidence backing Amazulu. Yeah. Polokwane, like I say, every week I say these guys can score goals. Yeah. They got another great goal. I think 12 to 10 could be a good bet.
Yeah, I think so too. Cape Town City in the local derby with Stellenbosch.
Benny's team will be fired up for this game. These Cape Town boys will be at each other. Yeah. 8 to 10 looks like a good value bet there for City.
Yeah, I agree. I fancy Cape Town City. Now, Chiefs, I watched the game last week. They were a lot better. Manyama looks a lot fitter.
Yeah, they've got a couple of players that try to go out there and make the game.
Yeah.
But they're always behind the 8 ball in this game. They were actually quite lucky to get a result at the end of the day. Big deflection to get the winning goal. Yeah. The game was going nowhere the last 20 minutes. Chiefs should be too strong, but Black Leopards winning the opening game should be quite a competitive game.
Yeah, and that game's been played at the Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban. And the last game, Bloemfontein against Arrows.
Yeah, tough game. Arrows are a difficult team to beat. Yeah. Bloemfontein at home put up a good show against Pirates for a long period in the game. 15 to 10, another value bet. Yeah, I just said the last few times they've played, it's been tight. Steve Compella coached Celtic, but I was really impressed with Celtic against Pirates. They didn't deserve to lose 3-1. Very difficult team to beat up there.
Celtic for me. On to our exotics for the weekend. The first one is the PSL game. I'm banking Polokwane to beat Amazulu. I'm going Bournemouth to beat Sheffield United at home. I'm going the field in the Burnley-Southampton game. Likewise, the Crystal Palace-Everton clash. I'm banking Cape Town City to beat Stellenbosch. And I'm going Kaizer Chiefs looking for the upset, the field against Black Leopards, 162. The second Soccer 6, the Premiership one, I've gone banker. Bournemouth to beat Sheffield United. I've gone the field in the Burnley-Southampton fixture. Likewise, Crystal Palace versus Everton. I've bankered Watford to beat Brighton. And I've gone Sheffield Wednesday, win and draw at home against Barnsley. And I'm siding with Stoke City to get a good result at Charlton, 216. Our third Soccer 6 is a Championship one, which always pays. I'm going Bristol City, win and draw at Birmingham. I'm going Derby County, win and draw at home against Swansea. I'm going for Hull City to win or draw at home against Reading. I'm bankering Fulham to beat Blackburn. I'm going with Huddersfield, win and draw at QPR. And I'm going Middlesbrough, win and draw at home against Brentford, 192. Our Soccer 10, I'm going Bristol City, win and draw at Birmingham. Derby, win and draw at home against Swansea. Sheffield Wednesday, win and draw at home against Barnsley. Likewise, Hull City, win and draw at home against Reading. I'm bankering Fulham to beat Blackburn. The second page has Huddersfield to win or draw at QPR. I'm going Middlesbrough, win and draw at Brentford. Stoke, win and draw at Charlton. And I'm ending with Preston to beat Wigan and West Brom to beat Millwall, 216 Rand. On to our Soccer 13. I'm bankering Tottenham to beat Aston Villa. Bournemouth to beat Sheffield United. I'm going the field in the Burnley-Southampton game. I'm going Everton, win and draw at Crystal Palace. I'm bankering Watford to beat Brighton. Going for Middlesbrough, win and draw at home against Brentford. And I'm going Ostersons, win and draw at GIF Sonsville. Our second page has Djurgårdens to win at home against Sirius. I'm going with Bristol City to win or draw at Birmingham. I'm bankering Fulham to beat Blackburn. I'm going Derby, win and draw at home against Swansea. I'm going Huddersfield Town, win and draw at QPR. And had to find another banker, so I've banked Hull City to beat Reading, 326. On to our budgies bets for the weekend. I'm going Liverpool and Tottenham to score in both halves against Norwich and Aston Villa. I'm backing Watford to win at home against Brighton. And I'm going Bournemouth to beat Sheffield United and over 2.5 total goals, 3,500 to 200. My championship treble is Fulham to beat Blackburn. And I'm going Cardiff City to beat Luton, West Brom to beat Millwall, and over 2.5 total goals in both of those games, 2,600 to 200. My PSL treble, I'm going Bloemfontein Celtic to beat Golden Arrows. I'm going Polokwane City to beat Amazulu. And I'm going Cape Town City to beat Stellenbosch and over 2.5 total goals, 4,000 to 200. Both teams to score fiver is Cardiff Luton, Charlton Stoke, Hull Reading, QPR Huddersfield, and Sheffield Wednesday Barnsley, 15 to 1, 3,000 to 200. My handicap treble for the weekend, really confident in these two teams. I think Polokwane will beat Amazulu by more than 1 goal. And I think West Brom will beat Millwall by more than 1 goal, 2,900 to 200. And our Collis King, 6 on Exa, is Cardiff City to beat Luton, West Brom to beat Millwall, Polokwane to beat Amazulu, the Columbus Crew to beat Cincinnati, the Philadelphia Union to beat Houston, and IFK Gothenburg to beat Falkensburg on Monday, 6,200 to 200. Gav?
Well, Budgie, really some great games this week coming up. The season's kicking into full steam. I think there's some good value out there for the guys. Like I said, don't get too carried away and put too many teams, because there are some good value bets. I'm leaning towards Watford and Cape Town City this weekend. I think our double arrived last week, so this should go to about 28 to 10.
All right, Gav, thank you very much. My best bet for the weekend is West Brom, 9 to 10. We're 9.5 to 10. I looked this morning. I was going to go 12, 13 to 10 Polokwane. But West Brom, I think, will be too good for Millwall. And my best value bet for the weekend is 15 to 10, Bloemfontein Celtic to beat Golden Arrows on Sunday. Thank you very much for listening. Make sure you stay on side.